Well, hello there. Yeah, I know. It will get better, honest. I know some people only do it once a week. I get out at least 3 times a week, hopefully. And once I get things sorted a little bit more and I figure out schedules, I'll get other stuff out as well. Still working on the Patreon thing. Haven't had the day to get to it. Lots of stuff going on in my life right now, but I'm enjoy to be here right now. I'm going to share some things with you over the next few days. You have to jump around and find it, but I will put it in a special playlist once I figure out how I do that so that people can grab this. This is important information. At least I believe so. And I have seen the very elites of the world, the highest of high, not the ones you think of, no. These are much higher than that. They have a code, they have a way of being, way of understanding wealth. And yeah, I'm going to out them, if you want to call it that. Probably not going to believe most of it. That's all right. Let's get started. There are 5 rules to what wealth means to God. What wealth means. That's it. 5 amazing, wonderful rules. And people go, why not 7 or 10? Or you'll see why. There are a couple of other things that brings it to that wonderful number of 7, which God loves so much. But right now, let's just pass the rules. They're going to be hard. I'll let you know that. It's not what you see on TV. It's not what you see anywhere. I was raised by one. Yes. Kind of twisted, kind of dark, but she was one. Not the best side of this thing. But still, she followed these rules. And if you heard about my life, you might not think so, but she did. And I know she did. And she also had a twisted part of her that didn't. Welcome to humanity. Let's begin with the first one and probably the hardest one. And we'll preamp it this way. Self-esteem doesn't really work. If you look at it, getting somebody else to esteem you or to esteem yourself, that doesn't seem right. At least not to me. And I'm going to be very open on that. No, it doesn't. It's not right. You know why? Because we have a worth code within us. You've heard me say this before. We have a talent only you can use in that fashion. A message only your voice can speak. And people only you can uplift. And that means you can bring them to God and you can show them the truth. That isn't the rule. The first rule is you treat people as you wish to be treated. If you would not do it to yourself, then don't do it to them. I have seen the highest of the high, and the way they treat people is the way they wish to be treated. Now you cross them. They can be very and that's about it. The is whatever you want to put there. Because they walk in a very high code of honor. And some of them out there are going to be a little upset about me doing this. I don't really care. Because the truth is, we all have a right to this. We are all fearfully and wonderfully made with reverence in our workings. And we have a design and purpose by God for each single individual. That's the truth. So the first rule this night is treat people like you wish to treat. Be treated. I'll get it right. I'm a little tired. Let me say it again so it's clear, because that wasn't, and I'll admit it. Welcome to live. So, you treat people the way you wish to be treated. And that means that if you will to that being ever done to you, then don't do it to them. If it's what you love to have done to you, then do it to them. That can be a double-edged sword, right? No, it can't. There's a reason. There's a failsafe. Christ gave it to us. First one is love the Lord God with all your soul, might, being, everything. No matter how you put it. Everything. That's what it is. The second is love your neighbor as you love yourself. Uh-oh. Fail safe. You're not going to hit yourself over the head with a hammer, at least hopefully not. If you do, you're not loving yourself, so then you can't love others. Correct? Deep and steep, I know. But how deep do you really want to travel? Do you really wish to know? Let's remove want right out of that. Let's just say, do you wish to know who you are and the way that you were meant to operate to come to a thriving space where everything comes together, regardless if not everything comes together in the way you wish, but it is for your best and highest good according to the great, amazing, wonderful, high God of heaven. That's the truth. Now, that's a big one, right? Woof. Wait till you hear the other four. Like I said, I will get to this. I will make this my first project. And I will call this playlist Wisdom or Wealth Means Wisdom. That's it. You can find it. Because this is, oh, we know what this one is, right? This is Everyday Miracles. It's Sunday. At least for another hour. So if you wish to reach me, and someday there'll be an intro and an extra, and I won't have to do this tro. But until then, the tro will be in. Maybe someday it'll get edited out. Don't know yet. Haven't asked God about that. But here we are today. So today, if you wish to get a hold of me, you reach out to Eric at starthealing.me. That's it. Eric at starthealing.me. Eric at starthealing.me. Send me an email. The cost of the email is zero. I mean, you're just reaching out. You're going to talk to me. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hours, who knows? But you will. And who knows? I may be a part of your healing journey. I may be a part of your healing puzzle. And if I am, well, and you've just got another piece in your healing. It's awesome. That's going to work very simply. You send me an email and say, I wish a link. I send you a link. That's without charge. And I don't mean free because free is a gilded cage that comes with things. We know this. We've seen how humans use this. I'm talking about without charge. There's zero charge to this. I just wish to meet you and see if we have something to do together. How I can serve you. And how we can co-learn together. That's it. Now, the everyday miracle stories are not sequenced nor seriesed most of the time. This one may lead to others. It's not incomplete. It just may have avenues that we can go besides where we're going now. Well, we'll call her Gretel because a lot of people aren't called Gretel, so it could be somewhat safe. It's just a name. I can start just saying box and it's okay. but Gretel kind of meets with her. And Gretel was very nervous because God had told her that this person that she was meeting at her restaurant was going to be her husband. It was a date put together in weird ways, somehow through the church. She's 23, worked very hard, had started as dishwasher, moved from dishwasher to waitress. Well, yeah. She called herself a waiter, though. Weird, but true. And she'd gone from waiter to head waiter to kitchen manager to starting to learn to cook to becoming a certified chef. Now people say, oh, wait a minute, she's 23. How did she get there so fast? Well, she started washing dishes because she was on the street at 14 years old. The lady that would own the restaurant and that was the head cook took her in. She could have called the authorities. They could have come and got her and put her somewhere, but she didn't. She saw something in her. So, to the good or without, after a year of her diligently working and going to school, because that's what she had to do, she had to finish her high school. That was part of the thing of her being able to stay at the restaurant atop and small little room that she turned into her place where she played guitars, wrote music, coded for the computer, and ate Wall Street for breakfast. Yeah, interesting girl, huh? 2 years later, the lady said, "We need to get a hold of your parents." She goes, "Well, my parents threw me out the door at 13. They were one a drunk, that was my father. The other one was a hooer and a heroin addict. I have tried to reach to them twice by the numbers that I had at the time. They're disconnected." And the lady looks and said, "Well, you need to get your ID and figure out things." And she said, "Oh, I have ID." And she went upstairs and she undid something inside her little suitcase and pulled out her ID. The lady said, "Well, with this, if you wish, and we confirm that your parents are no longer with us, which is terrible, but does happen, or even if they don't wish you anymore, then I'll adopt you. But I don't want you as a dishwasher. I'm going to move you in as a waitress. You're now 16, and you can work as a waitress on the restaurant side. We won't put you on the other side yet." And she agreed. She nodded. They did the due diligence, but no, nothing was ever found of the parents. Could be still alive, but they weren't at those numbers. They weren't able to be reached at anything that anyone had. So she got adopted just so that she could have a title. That was it. But as I said, she had worked her all the way up, got her chefs, worked hard, did everything in very fast order. Because this is what she felt she was to do. But this night was incredibly special because she'd just been told this man that was coming, this Blandette, was her husband. God had said that. And she didn't know how that was all going to go, but she wanted to make him the best meal possible, but she was trying to figure out what to make. And that's when the everyday miracle happened. She found things that didn't exist in her fridges and freezers. Items wrapped in a blue ribbon. There was a bowl of cookie dough in there. Written on the ribbon was Grandma's favorite. So she took it out and she looked at it. It was kind of a chocolate chip with, oh, Smarties. Okay. Um, Chocolate chip Smartie cookies. Well, Grandma's favorite. And she set it down on the counter. She said, well, that's not probably going to be enough for what I want to do. I want to do a big cookie with ice cream and stuff. So let's see what this is. And so she baked up one, just one, just to see. The little salamander baked it up really nicely and she tasted it. Wow, this is good. But there's something in here. Thinking, okay, let's see, can I get close? And so she worked for about 20 minutes. Most people would spend hours. She spent 20 minutes. She was a bit of a chemist. She got to a place where she goes, that's not quite it, but that's my version. And then she said, I want to twist it. So she did. She added something because she knew that that cookie carried something, but she didn't really like using that. So she was like, don't know. But what she ended up doing that worked out amazingly well is that she realized that she was sitting there going, what is that? And then she just said, I'm just going to put some nutmeg in. Yeah. At this point, the lady that, she now owned the restaurant, but the lady came by every once in a while and said hello. And when she wasn't out touring the world, doing what she loves to do when she was cooking, getting more recipes. And she said, what are you up to? Well, God seems to be taking me through a menu for this man I'm meeting tonight. It started with these cookies, and I think I'm not supposed to use that exactly, but something like it, very close to it. And I can share the story with him, which I don't mind. But she said, this is my first test. And she made a cookie from both batches and gave it to the woman. And the woman went, yeah, it's not the same, but it is. But it's got your love turned into it. And a little bit of nutmeg, huh? Well, that tastes pretty good. I like that cookie. Even a little bit better than that cookie. But that is Grandma's best. So you gotta watch that. Yes, yes. So she did. She baked up Grandma's best cookies, the big ones, but she could only bake two, and she wanted to bake four. So she baked the others, and she said, "I'll give him a choice. He can try mine version or the one that God gave me, because these are coming from God." That's an absolute. This is the miracle, she said. So she said, "Okay, well, I got the cookies. They're cooling, and then I'm going to." Oh, hello, Blue ribbon in my freezer. That's homemade ice cream. I haven't done that in a while. Oof. She tasted it and she went, pistachio? Ooh, yeah, but something else. Oh, I would never thought of that. Who thought of that one? She goes pistachio and man, there's another nut in there. She thinks for a minute. She goes, I know what it is. Walnut. Pistachio, walnut, French vanilla ice cream. Whoa. She goes, I got that one. So She again didn't want to use that. It was only a little cup. This was the starter. She had to make something bigger for two people, so she did. And she tasted it, and it was pretty close, but it wasn't quite. And then she thought, ah, I know, honey, pistachio and honey. Oh, big one. Dropped a little bit of honey in and ice cream. Into the machine it went. It'll come out in a wee bit. Yum. The lady had become her sous chef. She wouldn't be there when the guy arrived, but she was going to help. So now she had ice cream, cookies, chocolate syrup over it, maybe. She didn't know, but back and forth on that. But she went into the fridge and there were, hello, blue, more blue ribbons, of course, wrapped around porterhouse steak. But these steak were interesting. There were two. That was good. They were larger than the usual porterhouse. There was something else about them. And then she looked, and they had been injected with truffle butter. Well, that make them good. And sitting on that same tray were diced mushrooms of many different batches. Sitting on that tray was also blue cheese. She got it pretty quick. She could use these. Didn't know where they came from. Never ran porterhouse in her restaurant. That type of restaurant. These were dry aged. These were nice ones. She asked father if it was okay and said, I'm giving them to you. Okay. So she takes them out to get warm. Knows how she's going to cook these. But she confirms it with father. And he goes, yeah, that's the way you're supposed to cook them. So, okay. She's going to baste them in butter. They're soaked in truffle butter. Blue cheese on top with mushroom medley. Nice meal so far. Eats a bit of a veg though. So she goes back in. She goes, well, I don't need everything told to me. I go, well, hello. Well, apparently I do. And sitting in the corner was a bag of vegetables, different ones, all peeled, which was nice because she was running out of time. He's going to be here in about an hour. She looked at that and she goes, that's a nice mix. Haven't seen that one before though. There's no turnips, but there's beets. Hmm. That's a Jamaican something or other, isn't it? Nope. I know where that came from. New Zealand. Purple potato. Wow. Well, sweet potato. So it's purple sweet potato. Potatoes, of course. Yes, that makes sense. And wow. Beets. And all right. Don't usually put beets in something like that, but okay. Carrots, that's normal. And then apples. They're all peeled, all ready to go. I don't know how the apples could sit and not, anything should have been. But anyway, she just took it, threw it in a big pot because that seemed to be what it looked like, a boil. So she did the boil. She went back, and behind the bag was a grandma's own buttermilk ranch dressing, heavy on the peppercorn. But there was nothing in it. It's just a bottle. She goes, well, I know how to make buttermilk dressing somewhat. Okay, I'll go for it. So she did, and she was heavy on the peppercorns, and she added a bit of garlic, and of course, she went with the two favorite cheeses in the world, besides the one that she was putting in, and you know, Romano and Pecorino and Parmesan, of course, because you gotta have that for ranch. And she got it all together and she said, well, probably not exactly grandma's recipe, but it will work. And it goes in rib mash, I suppose. And then she went into the fridge. She's told to go back to the fridge. She went into the fridge and she saw radishes, but they were pickled. That's odd. Haven't pickled radishes before, she said, but hey, oh, these are good. And she goes, God, can I use these just as they are? Because I'm running out of time here. He goes, yeah. You got one more thing that you got to get from the freezer. So she went to the freezer and she saw a bag of very crispy onion rings. She didn't usually use pre-made rings, but this will work. She read the ingredients and she said, oh, yeah, I'll just throw those in the fryer for a few minutes. We'll be fine. So she had decided that the restaurant was closed that day. She never opened on a Sunday. So she was having the dinner on a Sunday. They would have it in the kitchen because that's where she lived. She put two stools. The lady helped her put out the plates and everything. She had the onion rings ready to drop so they'd be nice and fresh when he came. Text the number that she was supposed to text. Come around back to the back and I'll let you into the kitchen. This is my life. You might as well see it. And so he arrived and came in and he had a big bouquet of flowers and he looked really, really super nervous. So nervous he tripped over his feet twice. And she said, don't worry about it. You'll be good. Let me grab those. And she did, and she put them in a, what else? A pot. She's a cook. She's a restaurant owner. She said, I don't have a vase that'll fit that, but that works. And I'll keep them watered until I can figure out a beautiful thing to put them in. And he goes, I'm okay with that. That's kind of cool. And I said, oh, she said, okay. She said, but I will find something better. They're beautiful flowers. They sat and she dropped the onion rings and he smelt them. He said, "Hmm, where'd they come from?" She goes, God. And he goes, so you believe in God? Yeah. Well, so do I. I'm really nervous. Why are you really nervous? I'll tell you at the end of the meal. Is that okay? Yeah. So they're getting to know each other and it sounds really good. Like similar things. He likes to do little adventures in food and he likes to cook. Not a true chef. He's been a short order cook and a few other thousand things. He's had a bit of a life, but they're really matching. And the meal is amazing. And she keeps saying, well, God gave me that. And God gave me that. Yeah. So the root mash, the steak, that was the way his dad did it. His dad was a bit of a chef. And they had the food and he really enjoyed it. You know, onion rings, lots of that mash that she just put together at the last moment, and that hint of balsamic that she put in at the last second just because was amazing for him. He said it made it a little different than his family's, but it was so close. And he was so amazed that God was doing all of this. And he looked really nervous, really, really nervous. So if he was nervous before, when the cookies came out, he was gone. Wiggling all over the place. But he enjoyed it. He said, this is not exactly my grandma's recipes, but your twists are really cool. And I like that. I like that touch of honey in that ice cream. Wow, that makes it come alive. And so he finished the last drop and he goes, wow. He goes, this has been an amazing night. She goes, it has. He goes, I had something silly to say to you, and if it's silly and you don't like it, you don't like it. I will apologize and walk out of here and never bother you again. She goes, okay. Let's say each of ours together. One, two, three. I think you're my husband. I think you're my wife. I both stared at each other and go, huh? Well, God said you were my husband. Oh, God said you're my wife. They had a normal dating and they went out for a while and they're married about 6 months later. And he's still with her years later. And yeah, he's cooking. He's not a real chef, but he loves to cook. He loves the restaurant. And the lady that is acting as her mom, and that's how it kind of gets put, is very happy for both of them. So let's leave that there. I probably went a little bit more than I should. Sometimes these stories are a little longer, a little shorter. Maybe I should have a metronome going doing, 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 but that doesn't work for me. This is live, raw, and here as I am. Let's have a blessing. I was thinking that we would have a blessing where joy and peace are always involved, but we sometimes require revelation and discovery, and then overflowing, wonderful, amazing ingenuity, invention, and finally, whatever that brush wishes to paint for you, that's in God's hands. According to His will and wish, that's God. According to your will and wish, this can be. We come before you, Father, and the story is it an everyday miracle? Well, I mean, food products showed up in our fridge and freezer, so we could say so. What else would we call this? I call it this. You seem to call it this because this is the story you called forward from my storybook. This is how this works. I am your storyteller. Not the best, not the worst, just your storyteller. That's all I require. That's incredible. I am so blessed to be in this space. Regardless of what the next days bring and how things come together or without coming together, I will always be blessed. In little, I will be blessed. In much, I will be blessed. You are a true blessing to me. So push back that darkness. If it's the first time or the 100th time, it's the first time, lead them down that Roman road. And if it's the 100th, take them deeper, much deeper. We leave it in your hands. We ask for grace and mercy and courage and strength as we go. And we say thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude. Standing in awe and honor, respect, allowing all glory to flow. Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is. Amen. When you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is well lit by God. Blessings. Till next time, and please, if you like this, subscribe. I'd love to do a live, but I'm not there yet. Squeaking along, getting closer. I'm not 10, not 20, but I'm not 30. So I need to get to 100 apparently. So if you like it. If you wish to subscribe, subscribe. These will get a tiny bit more professional, like I said, intro, extra, all of that stuff. I don't usually do this, but apparently maybe it'd be really nice if you could. Imagine what a live story would be. Really, you could get an hour and a half out of me. I could take you on a voyage somewhere. I could introduce you to characters you may not have ever thought of. But, that's up to you. Maybe this is just something you just flop through. I get it. I hope it bless you. And I will say it again. Blessings to you.